was born a freak of nature. My body has parts it shouldn't have. Just to scratch an itch, I hired a college kid from a High N club. 6 months later, I was head over heels. I gritted my teeth and handed over my entire life savings for a down payment on a house, just so we could have a future. Then, less than 3 months later, I found out the little shit is actually a billionaire heir. He was just slumming it with a mechanic like me for kicks. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just grabbed him by his hair and hissed, "You little bastard, give me my 70s and 5 grand back." After a series of intense physical confrontations, I was slumped against the headboard, feeling completely drained. I lit a cigarette and took a drag, looking down at Julian. He was flushed pink, panting softly, his skin pale and tender. The kid looked like a soft little college boy, but damn, he had some serious stamina. I'm a mechanic. I work manual labor all day, and even I was wrecked. Thinking about it, I couldn't help but pinch Julian's waist, wondering if he had a motor hidden in there somewhere. Julian's head snapped up. He wiggled up my chest like a caterpillar, burying himself in my arms. "Jax, round 2. I moved my hand away so I wouldn't ash on him. "Not tonight, babe. I got the early shift tomorrow." Julian pouted, looking disappointed. "Fine, let's rest then." He pushed himself up, snatched the cigarette from my fingers, and stubbed it out in the ashtray. Then he dragged me down under the covers. Sleep. The next morning came too fast. Julian was still buried in the quilt, dead to the world. I got up, washed the grit off my face, and whipped up some breakfast. Checking the clock, I saw I had a few minutes before I had to haul ass to the shop. I crept back into the bedroom and kissed Julian on the cheek. "I'm heading out. Breakfast is keeping warm on the stove." Julian was still half-dan asleep. Without opening his eyes, his arms snaked around my neck. He pulled me down for a hard kiss. It tasted like morning breath and mint toothpaste. He blinked his eyes open, looking clearer now, and nuzzled my arm. "Drive safe. Watch out for crazy drivers." His concern warmed the cold, cynical pit of my stomach. "Want me to pick you up from campus this afternoon?" I asked. Days ago, my buddy Lenny told me a relationship built on a cash transaction wouldn't last. Let him talk. He was just jealous. Julian and I were living the dream. I busted my ass at the shop all day. We even managed a cheesy video call over lunch where we just stared at each other while eating. Finally, quitting time rolled around. I was humming a tune as I peeled off my greasy coveralls. My cashier, a young girl named Sarah, teased me. "Look at you, Jax. You got a hot date or what?" I raised an eyebrow, basically admitting it. But before I could walk out the door, my phone started buzzing. It was Butch. I answered as I hopped into my beat Xan up Volkswagen. Before I could even say hello, his voice blasted through the speaker. "Jax, get your ass over here, man. We're drowning in High Xan and repairs and I need your hands. I'm begging you." Butch wasn't just a friend. He was like a big brother and a mentor. When I ran away from home after high school with nowhere to go, Butch took me into his auto shop. He taught me the trade. Eventually, his shop went upscale, catering to the rich pricks of the city. I was rough around the edges, foul Xan mouth, and hated taking shit from entitled customers regarding mods. So, I bailed and opened my own small shop in a cheaper district. But if Butch was calling for help, I couldn't say no. I texted Julian, working OT. "Sorry, babe." Then I spun the steering wheel and headed toward Butch's place. I got to the shop, skipped the pleasantries, grabbed my tools, and slid under a chassis on a creeper. If I worked fast, maybe I could still pick Julian up. Time flew while I wrenched on suspensions and checked oil pans. I was just finishing up the last job, speeding up my movements. Suddenly, I heard a name that made my blood freeze. "Julian, you son of a bitch. Finally got time to check on your baby? We thought you abandoned the car and went legit." Then, a voice I knew better than my own answered. "Fuck off." It wasn't the sticky Xan sweet, clingy tone